changing lives.
And a beautiful evening to you wherever you hear my voice from. This is Love at Home on Hope Channel Ghana. We are always grateful when you join us from your various homes, especially through Facebook, on YouTube, and through our WhatsApp line 0559680066. The show is Love at Home, and we are here to discuss issues bothering the family. I am Efia Sewa Mansa. Let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, we start our discussion. Remember to call in your friends that time has soon. Yes, it is time. Let's learn, unlearn, and learn. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Hello guys, I welcome you all to Gospel 101 TV show. My name is Selassie Evelyn, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this uplifting journey into the heart of gospel music and inspiration. What you made ye yet de ekuko down. Get ready for a television show that will challenge, uplift, and remind you of the incredible power of God. The show will boss say, yet the life-changing stories.
We are not going to marry when we go to heaven. It is very true. But if we are not careful, our body is heaven.
Good music videos. So tell a friend to tell another friend, say, Gospel 101 Jumedieno has come. It is not just a show, it is going to be an experience.
Gospel 101, showing this and every Wednesday at 6 p.m. right here on Hope TV.
Welcome, and we thank you so much for not leaving the dial. The program is Love at Home, and today we want to discuss a very essential topic. We are discussing grooming, the crucial role of the mother. Yes, last week we looked at the role of the father, where my resource people were able to tell us that being a father comes with lots of responsibility. What is their duty? To give sense of direction, to protect the child, and so many others. Today, we want to see how mothers can also groom their children. Is it just enough just brushing their hair, or combing their hair, or brushing their teeth, or whatever? I guess there is more. What about the psychological effects, the emotional? Let's discuss more. To help me do this discussion, I have a very beautiful woman, far from my left. Yes, check the smile. She goes by the name Mrs. Cynthia Juma Esquire. My dear,
thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening and thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You look good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a woman's duty.
Ah, see you. You see, he's using the right terms. And thanks to your husband and the family too.
Of course.
Yes,
of course.
Yes, thank
I have
you.
good support. So.
Ah, that's a blessing to know. Thank
Yes.
you. Yes, and to my immediate left, the man I call the love consultant is here. Dr. Pastor Josiah Ando. Dog.
Yes, madam.
How was your day?
I spent about 80% of the day in the classroom.
Wow.
But it was fun.
Imparting knowledge.
Oh, yes.
And God bless you.
Amen.
I love the smile.
Oh,
you know,
yes,
the color in your dress is matching like that.
Yeah. As if I knew.
So we are all welcome to you. What is so important is that they can join the discussion on our Facebook, on YouTube, and also on our WhatsApp line 0559680066, 0559680066. You can share your experience with us. You can ask a question. You can give us your remark, and we'll be grateful. Thank you so much. Now, let me start with you, Mrs. Juma. Generally, when we talk about grooming or grooming the child or child's grooming, What exactly are we talking about?
Well, let me say thank you once again for giving me the opportunity, and good evening to your cherished viewers and listeners. There's a reason why we say human beings are not read. Human beings are trained. Now, when someone builds trust and emotional connection with someone, we call it grooming. Why am I saying that? A person has to be trained and nurtured in a special way in every aspect of that person's life. And so that for me is grooming.
You know, you've said so many things, and they are very deep. Okay, let me come to the love consultant. What is your take?
Well, in my opinion, in fact, I agree with everything she said. When we say you are grooming something or somebody, it is more like, let me use another word, nurturing.
Okay.
All right, so
that becomes a process.
Yes. So if this is a real flower, and I want the flower to grow towards that side or toward that side, I would actually make sure I groom it to move that way.
All right.
So grooming is actually a process of trying to intentionally inculcate certain, so in terms of when it comes to a human, inculcate certain qualities into a child, because we are talking about child grooming.
Yeah.
So I want my child to turn this way. How do I do it? That process is what we call grooming.
Yes, we are learning, and I am glad. So here, we learn, unlearn, and learn. That is good. Now, you were a mother. How can mothers, in a special way, how can they groom their children?
So before I break it down, let me just say that you have to groom your children by example.
Okay.
So like he said, it's a process. And he used the analogy of the flower. You would have to prune it, you have to water it, you have to do so many things to get it to grow as you want. Now, in doing this, children observe what they see, and you are the mother. And so you would have to live by example and build an emotional connection with them through this. If you leave them to themselves, and from what I said earlier, building trust, someone else would have their trust and they will learn what you don't want them to learn. And so it's important for you to build that bond with your children and nurture them the way you know they have to be nurtured.
Okay, so you said that by example.
Yes.
So then it is not enough for a parent, for that matter a mother, to say, do what I say, but don't do what I do. Is that the case?
That is very wrong.
Okay, how wrong is that?
Because if
maybe
you tell them,
I've done something which is bad and I can't stop, but I'm telling you not to observe what I'm doing, but do what I'm telling you.
So let me use the example of working hard. If you tell your child, study, do this, do that, and you each day you are sleeping, you're asking someone else to do this for you, do that for you, then why can't I also do that?
Right.
And so it's important for you to direct the child by leading by example. If you want your child to be neat, for example, you have to be neat yourself. If you want your child to be a good Christian, you have to exhibit characters of someone who is a good Christian. If you don't give that example to your child, the child would know that you are trying to lie to them, and they would find that training elsewhere. So leading by example for me is very key.
Now, Doc, mothers have huge task and big role to push these qualities into their children, being a boy, being a girl. How can they do them? How?
All right. So I'll come to that, but I want to contribute a little on
to that, okay.
That aspect of trust and leading by example.
Okay.
I would begin with leading by example, and I'll end on trust, then I'll answer your question.
All right, go ahead.
So when we talk about children, at the early stages, they just obey. You give them cocoa, that is what they will eat. You give them oats, that is what they will eat. In fact, my children, when they were very young, I didn't add sugar to their food, and they were able to eat it without complaining that it's not nice. They would do it. However, when they get to a certain age, they actually, whether consciously or unconsciously, they begin to copy what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. They will do what you do.
Okay.
So it is actually part of growing up.
All right.
We learn by observation. A psychologist did an experiment. Used a bobo doll, a doll that, you know, when you molest it, you hit it down the floor, it will stand, and made children to observe that.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the study, they became violent because the woman who was playing with the doll was kicking it and hitting it and doing this and doing that. Children learn by observation. So whatever you do at home as a mother, your children are likely to pick it up. So she talked about neatness. If you are neat at home, you are likely to groom neat children. If you are dirty, it is what you sow.
If you don't like cooking and you always buy
If you don't like cooking and you always buy from outside, that is the kind of taste buds your children would actually have.
If you keep on insulting your husband and people around
they
you,
will,
that is what
they
will
would
learn.
do that. So children learn by copying. So whatever it is, in fact, sometimes even the way you cook your food, your child grows and the child maintains that kind of taste.
Yeah.
So you visit somebody, maybe a sibling or a cousin, someone who has lived with a particular woman, and you see that it's like, this is mommy's food or this is auntie's food. It is the same. Children learn by watching, especially from age 6 to 12. They are confirming the things that you told them
when they were younger.
When they were younger.
Okay.
To see if you are living that. If you are not living that, you lose their trust.
All right.
Now, I mentioned that I will end on trust. The issue of trust is this. I would actually learn from you because I trust you. And that is built by relationship. And then, therefore, you see, my mother tells me that it is wrong to lie. And now I have grown and I see that truly my mother does not lie. I learned to trust this woman to the extent that I would not lie no matter how bad it is. But my mother says, hey, it's bad to lie. If you lie, you are Satan's child. I learned that first 6 years of my life. Age 7, age 8, age 9. When I am becoming conscious, I hear my mother talking on the phone. Oh, we are on our way. Oh. Meanwhile, I know my mother is in the shower or she just got out. She is actually losing my trust.
Exactly.
So mothers can have a very powerful influence on their children by building trusts. Okay. Your question to me was, how can we do that?
Yes.
So let me now answer that question. You see, the idea is this. The mother is more or less the very first contact that a child has.
Exactly.
Maybe the nurses, especially if maybe during the birth, maybe the mother is not too strong and all that. But whatever, ultimately, the very first person that you have the longest contact is the mother. So if there is any trust, that is where it begins from. If there is any learning, that is where it begins from.
Exactly.
You actually build that bond through breastfeeding. You breastfeed, you look into the child's face and all that. And that actually helps the child to see that this is somebody I can trust. Why? Because my most basic need, I get it from her. And because I get my most basic need from her, I can rely on her. I can trust her. And if you are able to maintain that trust, you have the greatest influence on your child.
Exactly.
you can actually determine exactly what path that child should go. Because you have not the child trust you so much. If you say, go here, nothing will happen to you, that child will go. And like I began with the flower analogy, you can groom the child.
Okay, so you are saying that, let me come to you again, Mrs. Children who are not obedient enough, even though they've grown, what their parents told them, they are doing something else. Does that mean it's as a result of trust?
That's difficult to say, but you know, I saw something that says, leaders don't yell. It is a privilege to train and groom a child. That is something that is like taking a part of God's work and doing it. Now, when my child is stubborn, I have to go back to the person who gave that child to me and commit the child to him. Before a child becomes stubborn and goes out there, you would notice as a parent, what have you done with that child? Oftentimes, we tend to be judgmental as parents. And I know the Bible says that we should not provoke our children. And you know, when someone does something wrong and every day you are saying it, you are saying it, you are saying it, and you are not giving the person a reason why you think what the person is doing is wrong, they would do it and would not care. If you also let your child understand that you have an image out there and they are a reflection of you, sometimes it works. Sometimes we even use emotional blackmail to get them in line. How you approach, oftentimes we say that people who are known in public to be good and so on and so forth tend to have their children behaving in a certain way. Admittedly, when we have to admit, sometimes there's a lapse. Sometimes there's a lapse. And if you are always out there, for example, preaching, and you are not preaching to your child, if you are not paying attention to what your child, and sometimes I tell my husband, take time and pick your children's phone and go through it. Have conversations with them. I tell my first girl, if you meet anybody out there, let me know. And let me have a conversation with the person. So that you don't have that fear that I would hide doing this. And sometimes I ask interesting questions. And you'll be amazed, they are girls. They will tell you people they have encountered, the conversations they've had. And sometimes they even bring the phone to you to look at. So we have to admit that there's been a lapse somewhere. Apart from going back to the person who gave the child to you. And if you don't start early, it gets worse. We are Korapani, you are this, you are that, you make it worse. It's just like the workplace. Even for people who are non-performers, we have performance improvement plans for them. And we take them through. You don't throw people away. That, oh, you are this bad, and so let me give you to the next person. Sometimes you'll be amazed. That person you think is bad goes to another manager and is doing better. That should tell you as a manager that there's something wrong. And if I'm a mentor to somebody, I'm coaching people out there, and my child is stubborn, it should tell me that maybe I'm not focusing on my child. I'm not paying attention to what might be wrong and the reason. Sometimes some of these rebelliousness are a way of the child just trying to get your attention. And so if you ignore that, then it gets worse.
Okay, that is true. That is very true. Now, let's look at, in today's era, you see that mothers are so busy. We are chasing education, we are chasing money, we are chasing everything. And so you see in certain homes, they do not have the time. Now, my question is, how do we balance this nurturing and grooming and discipline alongside with our children?
All right, thank you very much. You are bringing the question to the 21st century, to 2024,
yes, I need
where our children spend the majority of their time in the classroom, under the care of another person.
That's it.
Ideally, it would have been nice if we will ensure that we take care of our children till they are 6 before we leave them in the hands of another.
Okay, because that is where most of the learning
That is
will be
where,
taken from.
in fact, that is where every value
Okay.
that a child eventually will live by, that is where it is learnt.
From 1 to
First
6.
5 years,
Okay.
or maybe we can add a 6th year.
Okay.
That is where every single value that a child eventually will uphold, or if the child begins to exhibit a vice, a wrong action, that is where it is learned.
Okay.
So ideally, it would have been okay that the parents, and in this case, the mother, and I'm using this advisedly, in the 19th century, Ellen White suggested that mothers should stay off work.
For sake of, of this, Ellen White is a prolific writer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mothers should stay off work till their children are 5 years.
Hey, dog.
That cannot be properly applied today,
Okay.
2024. It is not, practicable. Mothers would have to go to work. They have to build career. They have to do stuff. But they have to also be mothers. So we are talking about a balance. The point is that you need to be 100% mother and 100% career woman. You need to be able to do that. Every mother will need to do that. So we need to balance. It is not a 50-50 matter. Because when we talk about balance, people will start talking about 50-50. Say,
This balance is 100-100.
It's 100-100. In other words, you should be on top of your career.
Yeah.
You should be able to build yourself. You don't allow motherhood to stop you from growing.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, and even though we are talking about mothers, let me talk to our husbands, that support your wife to be able to grow in career, so that your children do not stop her from growing in her career.
Exactly.
However, our mothers should not allow career to take away their motherhood duties. Because once you do that, then the mobile phone, the TV, teachers, friends will train your children for you. So when they become teenagers and you want to engage, you want to have that, you have lost them.
Yeah.
Because you were chasing career when you should be there for them. But that, like I said, that's not to say you should neglect career and take care of children. So how do we balance it?
Thank you.
For me, I would say, so that's why I said it's 21st century. So let us use the resources we have today. She mentioned monitoring. Today majority of children have mobile phones. They have tablets. How many parents know what happens on that tablet? We are so busy we don't know what happens on it. We should be able to have the kind of relationship such that our children will not even feel like we are spying on them when we take their gadgets to look at. To the point that they can tell you that, hey, mommy, maybe a teenager, maybe the person is 17, 18, 19. Hello, mommy, I just saw a gentleman I think I like. Your daughter should be able to tell you this. And she can do that only if you build a relationship in the earlier stages. And so we should be able to, yes, I'm at work, but I should know what is happening with my daughter, with my son, with my child. As a mother, I should be there. When you have that short time, that brief time, try to make time. Sometimes we are so busy. Monday morning you are busy, Tuesday, Friday you are busy, Saturday you are busy at church. That's those who go to church on some may go to church on Sunday. You are busy. The only afternoon that you have, maybe Sunday afternoon, you want to have a me time.
Yeah.
And your children are still with their gadgets. Go for a walk with them when you are free.
So I like the examples.
Yes.
Yes.
So
You should go for a walk with
go
them.
for a walk with them and,
Yes.
and have a conversation. Ask them what happened in school. What are your who are your classmates? Who is your best friend? What are some of, they will tell you because they see that you are showing interests. But you don't show interest. You don't even make time to attend their parent-teacher meetings. You don't know what's happening in the school. You don't know. You will lose them. So for me, it is about being available, even when you are absent. They should feel your presence. So you are absent. Your job has taken you out. Today, we can do a video call and talk to. That's why I'm saying we should use the resources that we have in the 21st century. Okay. You can actually be absent and still be available as a mother. And once we do that, we are able to groom our children. We are able to, carry them through. So at the end of the day, even if you are not there, they know that if mommy is here, this flower would not be on this table. Yeah. So I'm not leaving it there. That is the kind of relationship I think we can use to groom our children as mothers.
Do you want to add something?
He said mainly what I wanted to say, but you see, time management and setting boundaries are key.
All right. For mothers,
yeah. Yes.
So that the excuses.
So for me, at the workplace, my directors know if my child is sick and I'm called, I'll leave my work and go. And the law is on my side anyway. So my job is important, but they know, and I've done it several times. Yeah. So they understand. The job is there, I will come back and do it. But if I get a call that my child is sick, I'll leave and go. Once you set boundaries, it's not just about your work. When your work leaves you, you will go back to your family.
That is true.
Now, when that family is disintegrated, where would you go? And then for me, I think time management is important. Even if you come home at 10 or 11 p.m. or whatever, when you are leaving in the morning, you have to find your children. They have to see you and know you are leaving. And within that small time, you can still have a conversation and find out how they are doing. But oftentimes we give excuses, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. We all have tight schedules. You are working, you are schooling, you are doing this. When you count, you may be doing about 10 things at the same time. But your family is your family. For me, that is what I have. And I always tell my colleagues, if this job sucks me, it's my family I'll go to. So I have to prioritize that. And so there was once I was called, my child was sick. I was calling my director, I wasn't getting her. I left and I sent a message. The following day when she said, oh, she saw it, that's it. What's the worst that can happen, So it's key. If we don't set boundaries where we are and we allow it to happen, and then you don't attend to your family, then when it becomes critical, they'll be wondering why this time is different. If I say don't go, you always don't go anyway. So why are you complaining? So we have to be careful about that one.
Now, Dog, growing up, I want you to share some personal experience with us. How did your mother's grooming or the habits shaped you in the way you are today? What are some of the things? See how he's jumping to answer the question.
Yes. Once it's about my mother.
Yes,
when I told my wife I was coming, her question was, are you a mother?
I know you love women and you can do it.
And then I told her that I have a wife who is a mother.
And you have girls.
And I have daughters. And of course I was groomed by my mother.
That is very important.
I didn't have the father figure because of death. But my mother, I would say, it is because of her that I have become who I am.
Kudos, mommy.
All right. So I will be able to say that. Yeah. Now, how would I say she groomed me? For me, one thing that I saw her do that inspires me, and for me it has inspired me because it's like, well, I have to do this, and I have to excel. Is her involvement. Now she tells me that she didn't go to school because of me.
Wow.
All right, because somehow I came when she was in Form 4.
Oh, okay.
So she didn't go because of me. But even if she will sell her cloth and walk naked for me to go, she will. Reason I am her only son, she has daughters, and I'm her only son. She cherishes me that much, even though I don't really agree to the favoritism because of a son and all that. But then, for that reason, and you see, for 7 years, I was 7 years older than my very next sibling. So she took care, she raised me. When I say this, I say it with apologies, that she raised me like a girl.
Okay.
I say it with apologies because I don't think that there is the raising of a girl and the raising of a boy.
Yes.
Everybody needs to be raised that way.
Yeah.
But because of the environment that I came from, there were things that I learned that other boys didn't learn.
That became an advantageous to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'll be in the kitchen, I'll go draw water, I will do this, I'll go with her to the market. Therefore, I learned certain soft skills.
Okay.
Skills that are helping me
Today
that you may not even be able to name.
All right.
But they were part of that because of me being with her.
Right.
So I grew up and I could cook, I could clean, I could do basically everything that any human being should be doing.
Yeah.
Because of that kind of grooming. But apart from that, I mentioned the issue of her relationship with me that spurred me on. The fact that my mother is so interested, she doesn't even know what book it is, but she will buy for me. You know, so it's like she's showing interest in my. So she is one reason I actually built interest in reading.
Wow.
Because she would buy an interesting book for me and I will read it. She doesn't ask me whether I've read it. She wouldn't know whether I've read it or not. But the fact that she travels and she comes back with a book, it made me to learn to read. Somehow she didn't know that she was building in me the desire to become a reader. And so I've decided that I would want my children to read. I will intentionally buy books for them.
Because you know.
Because I know.
Yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah.
But I do. And I'm telling mothers who are listening, look, buy a book, read it to them in bed. That's if you have younger children. Read it to them when they are going to sleep. Let that one be their experience. They will grow to love to read. They may, of course, they are 2024 children. They would like to use screens. They
Millennium children.
Yes, millennial children. They would like to look at the phone and all that. But they will actually build that skill, and it is going to help them eventually. If you don't stop me and it's about my mother, I'll talk till 9 o'clock.
So it's okay. My lovely viewer, it's becoming more interesting. But I guess you can relate to the passion he's using in addressing the issue. I'm sure you also have lots to talk about. You can share your experience to our WhatsApp line 0559-680066. We are still discussing grooming, the crucial role of the mother. Last week we looked at the father. Today we are looking at the mother. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we continue that discussion. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Eden ena wode umre eye etoda ye say mre ni adaje ewo niema hodo a emfamfaso emre yen we yabrabo yi efi na kwei men say umre ni wadaje ewo niema asebe emfamfaso mre wo abrabo mu eno nti me kan fo se share me ewo time we dey see you ye ne adwumawura anom tenase esua de agi nimde efa won dwumadi a wodie ho yetu anamon kwa won chen kohwe ade kora wo ye dwumadi a wodie kwan ofa so di no na fe ya ginchiremu ya penimde e de ama na de aka wo de dada wonim ne ho eno nti nyabre na hia yen e wo time we dey see you dwumadie so na yemfa adesua ebeboa o emrew.
Time with the CEO on Hope Business Forum, showing this and every Thursday at 8.
Hello and welcome to Hope Channel, and of course to your favorite program, Watch These Signs.
As long as you are not in that boundary, he will do all kinds of things to protect you so that you continue to move. There are times some things should have happened which should have crushed you to death, but because of the power of God, to give you extra more time so that you can consider the issues of eternity. From plug things and
Farm.
verse 23.
Yes, and that was when the Pharisees
came,
then he made this statement. And that is the same response people give today. That the Sabbath law says, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt not do this, don't touch this, don't go to market, don't. And so people use this text to tell you that even Jesus.
Hello, you are welcome back to Love at Home on Hope Channel Ghana, and thank you so much. We are discussing grooming, the crucial role of the mother, and thank you so much for not leaving us. I'm still waiting for your questions, your remarks, and your feedbacks or experiences, and we will gladly take them. Now, before we left our break, Doug shared with us his experience which the mother gave her, and that has made him a wonderful person today. Yes, and my noble lawyer also has a lot to share with us, because we need to learn. Sometimes we overlook at simple things. It is not written anywhere, but we learn every day. So let me know, how did your mother, I mean, was it intentional that he was grooming you, or he was just doing something?
Well, so I'll give the various aspects where my mother had an influence on me, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of education. And I have a complex life.
Okay.
Because I was brought up by my mother and my auntie and her husband at the same time. And I'm going to explain that. That's why I was laughing when he was talking. So my mother was a nurse. She's retired now. And so she would go to a theater nurse, and that is a little bit busy.
Yeah.
So in the morning when you wake up, you sweep, clean, everything. Then you go to your auntie's house to go and learn the chores. So there you go to the market, you come, you cook, and then in the evening you carry the food and bring hers to her in the evening, because by that time she would have closed. Now my auntie up to now is still a music director.
Oh.
So from when I was 2 years till I came to myself as a person, every day I'm going with her to choir practice.
Okay.
So secondary school, wherever, everywhere I went, I was in the choir. That had an influence on me. But my mother, in spite of being busy, made sure, now, it's either you sleep at 8 or you are studying, full stop. You can't say anything about it. So if it's 8 and you are not studying, it means that you still want to read. Now by the time you come from I come from my auntie's house to her house, I have to start reading because I'll go to school the following day.
Okay.
So after school, I go to my auntie, do whatever I have to do, carry her food and bring it. Secondary school, when I was going, anytime I was going from Prestia to Cape Coast, she would tie your school fees around your waist before you wear your uniform, and she will sit you down and tell you how she struggled to get that money to pay your school. She never paid my fees on credit, never. By the time you come back, your provisions ready for you, your school fees ready. And she will tell you, when you go, straight away, go and take the money, go to the vestry, get the receipt. When you come back home, the first thing she's asking of is the receipt and your results.
Accountability.
Right. If you go to my mother's bed and you leave the mattress, you will have my report from KG to wherever, till I came to the university. So she was very worried when the university, she was not seeing first, second, third, that because that's what she knows. She's used to. Okay. And she would insist. And that is why I'm always studying. People don't understand. I told people, I've never been to a club before, because you are sleeping at 8 or you are reading. If you are not reading, what else would you do? You won't watch TV. So that is not something you take an interest in. Now, the chairs in her sitting room, you know, you have these covers. She'll put white and nothing else around them, and still put a rubber around it, the plain white rubber.
Yeah.
When you come and sit on it and you get up and you don't straighten it, you are in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yes.
You cannot go out of the house wearing anything.
All right.
You would have to be properly dressed up. Wearing a shoe going out. So when I'm going to my auntie's house, I'm dressed like I'm going to church. So sometimes people ask you, where are you going? But I'm going, and it's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
You know how to, you wear this, you say no, you have to go and change. And you ask yourself, where am I going? And she would separate your things, what you wear in the house, what you wear when you are going out, what you wear when you are going to church.
At what age was she doing this to you?
She did this up to the university level. And you can't complain.
Okay.
You can't.
So then you are saying that parents of today who cannot talk about the way their children dresses is a problem.
It's
because some children some adults are wearing things
because they didn't help them during the ages that they will build the relationship.
Okay.
When she is grown, she's picked up
already
everything that she has to pick up.
Okay.
So whatever you say, she will not listen to you, or that child will not listen to you.
She will not, and you fold your things, so you know where these things are. Your socks, your blouses, your everything clean. If you don't do it, she won't beat you, but she would let you know that you are wrong, and you will be happy. So you have to do, and it has helped me a lot. So sometimes
orderliness, accountability,
yes, and people ask
neatness.
me, I said, this is what I know. In fact, people complain that, oh, you don't visit me. I don't know how to do that, because that is how she has trained me.
And to you,
and it's helped me a lot.
I was going to ask
how
it has helped you.
One, you stay out of trouble.
All right.
Most of the time, it helps you to be focused on things that you want to do, not different opinions confusing you. You know what you want, okay? And in terms of even how you do your things, so if I go to someone's home, my eyes naturally would look out for certain things. Because if you go to her room now, even now that she's old, everything is ordered. You won't go and sit in her chair and you get up.
Just get up
even
without
if you
rearranging.
She will tell you to straighten it before you go.
Wow.
You understand? And it helps.
Right.
Sometimes you think that if you talk to your child, they will get upset. Let them be upset. That is your role.
Yeah.
If you don't do that and they grow, and they go out, dress anyhow, behave anyhow, even in keeping their own selves, it becomes a problem. And it's an image you are creating
That
also
is
for
true.
yourself.
That is true. Now, Doc, how can we inculcate these behaviors into our children? I mean, the daily habits. How should we go about them?
Okay. You know, I'm going to actually use her experience to answer this question. Of course, I'll use elements of mine.
Yeah.
So there's a point. All the things that she was mentioning, and the ones that I mentioned that I picked from my mom, these, in fact, for some, our mothers did them unconsciously.
That is true.
They didn't know what exactly they were doing to us. They just wanted to do something for us, something good. Today, we are in an era where I think mothers should be better educated. Okay. And so that's why I want us, and I want to use just one word, intentionality.
Thank you.
You should be intentional about, this is how I want my flower to become. In other words, and I'm telling it to children, this is how I want my child to become. And because this is how I want my child to become, this is what I will do. If you want a neat child, then be neat. In fact, let neatness be part of you. How do you dress as a mother? That dressing is actually going to inform your child's standard of good dressing.
Okay.
If, as a mother, you dress and you expose yourself, your children are going to build to have that. Even your boy children.
Yeah.
Because we are talking about the mother, we are likely to be talking about only the girl children.
No, you're talking about all
At a certain
children.
age, the boys develop what we call the Oedipus complex. I'm sorry, I'm going into, but let's just say that boys tend to get closer to their mothers at a certain stage in life.
That is very true.
Okay, so for that reason, your way of dressing can actually inform certain aspects of even the choices that your son will make in the future. So if you are grooming your son, your dressing should show. You have girls. How do you dress? How do you even, excuse me, how do you even put on your panty? Maybe your daughters see you wearing it. How do you do it? carefully putting a panty liner. You know, these are things that our mothers should do for the children to learn.
Okay.
They should know that, look, and of course they will ask. Today's children will ask, Mommy, why do you do this? But they would want to even do same. Then you can take the opportunity to educate them. I do this because of X, Y, Z. When you do that, it stays in their head. They grow up and they will do it because Mommy does it, or Mommy used to do it. So practical. In terms of keeping the home, how do you want your children to keep their home eventually? Her mother would, for example, ensure that the sitting room is intact. So you visit a home, this is not to, because many people who have younger children will tell you that since the children came, I haven't been able to keep neatness. We should be able to keep to a certain level of neatness, even while they are around. Otherwise, they will grow up in a messed up home.
And you'll think that is it.
A messed up home, a mess that they created.
Yes.
You are not dirty, but they have created a mess. And you have assumed that, oh, since I have children, the house can be in a mess. They will grow up taking that to be the norm. Try to keep to a certain level of neatness, even while you have the little children throwing up things and all that. Try to keep a certain standard. Put toothbrushes where they ought to be. Put the toothpaste where it ought to be. Leave the towel where it ought to be. If they see you leaving it on the bed, they will learn to do it. If they see you keeping toothpastes and toothbrushes everywhere,
opening covers, leaving them anywhere,
they will learn to do so.
That is true.
So and this is intentionality. Even if you are not like that, for the sake of your children, do it. For the sake of your children, instead of being on your phone and on TikTok, take a book and read. Let them see you reading. They will eventually learn that, oh, it's not always that Mommy is on the phone. Sometimes Mommy reads. And they will do it. They will eventually learn to do it. So for me, it is about being intentional about what you want your children to be and making it so. I haven't gone to the kitchen. So let me talk about the kitchen. How much time do you spend in the kitchen and how do you do things? And how well do you involve it? I have had students at the university, girls who do not know how to cook. Why? Because the person grew up without, not that she doesn't have a mother, she has a mother, but she's never been there. And so there is a help that provides the food.
Or ordering.
Or they order it. So this girl is in the university, cannot cook rice. And somebody walks to a lecturer and says that, I am happy I'm here, but one thing I want to do is that I want to be able to learn to cook. So, of course, this is a bold girl. Some may not.
You know, I am glad because my next question was going to be on life skills. So you have started well.
All right.
Yes. So when you are done, my dear, you also come in. What
with life skills?
Yes. What basic life skills should we give to our children? Being a boy, being a girl.
So your child's button is torn.
Yeah.
What do you? Well, some of us don't know how to do it. But your child's button is torn. How do you do it? Just you should have a needle. You should have some blade, some scissors, something. You don't. Fine, if you are able to get a machine, a hand machine, get it and just do it. Bead making. These are things that I think you can actually that is if you know how to do them. You can inculcate in your children. They will just learn to do them. And because I went to the kitchen, the cooking skill. How do your children cook? You know, what have you been able to get them to do? Because I said this because I will be in the kitchen with this, and till now, even if I visit you and you serve me on the table, when I finish eating, instinctively I want to carry the bowl to the pantry. I want to do that. I've done that several times, and people are like, no, it has become a part of me. Why? Because I grew up doing it. So for me, parents and mothers, for that matter, should be intentional about inculcating some of these skills in their children.
Now, let me come to you. Same on life skills. What are some simple life skills, things that parents, now I'm not talking about mothers, parents should start giving to their children, because now you can. I guess you cannot be, your mind cannot be only on books. You need to be diverse. You need to show other skills. What are some other skills that we should know?
Well, so we live in an IT world now, and most of our children now are IT persons. So I would practically talk about what I do. I have a house help, but by principle, my bedroom is not for you, so you'd never enter my bedroom. Now, my bedroom is a master bedroom, so that means that I have my bath and everything there. If I will not do it, who is supposed to do it? My child has to do it, so you'll be forced to learn. That is one. I realize that they love sweeter jelly, you know, that YouTube thing. Okay. So today you do puff puff for us. You use sweeter jelly to do puff puff. This Sunday, I was studying, and we had to prepare fufu. Then my girl came to call me that it's ready. Normally I'll go and say, I said, no, Nana is in the house. Let her go and do it. I didn't care how she would do it. And it was intentional. Because once you are going to turn 18, you are a big girl. I told her to call her to go and do it with her. It's amazing. They brought it to me. Just
and it tasted like you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if we don't force them now, they won't do it. So if they want to use tech to learn, we can still tell them to prepare something using their tech. You understand? Otherwise, then they won't do anything. If I allow my house help to come and work for me in my bedroom, my child will learn the same thing. So you would come and lay the bed. You would scrub the bathroom for me. Days you don't do it, I'll be forced to do it myself. And you pick something from that. When you grow, you will not do the same thing. Personal hygiene is key. Because oftentimes you see when we go to our various churches, other occasions, you see the parent well dressed, neat. The child is passing, and you can smell an odor on the child. If you don't train your child when to shave, when to bath, and so on and so forth, it affects the child's self-confidence, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is something that, and you mentioned cooking, that is also important. So I think that these are basic things. But I think one thing that is missing in society now that I notice is that people are no longer empathetic. And so that is something that we have to inculcate in our children.
These are soft skills.
You know, we had an exercise just this weekend, and you'd notice that maybe a senior person is late and is standing, and someone is sitting crossed, with the legs crossed and doesn't care. And you wonder, we are all in the kitchen, and even the speech. I was telling somebody that the fact that I've given you a lift in my car does not mean that when you come hearing my music playing, you just shout, sing along. I won't accept that. So, these are things that we have to get for boys and girls. We have to teach our children. You can't.
Is that book still around?
It is.
Yeah, it's still around. There are soft copies around.
Soft copies around.
You know? So, and I'll tell you, you are going to my friend's house. When you go, don't do this, don't do that. This weekend I don't want them to come and disturb you. That is why I brought my child home. If you don't give them that sense of direction, they will disgrace you eventually. And that is your future anyway.
Okay, so mothers and fathers, we are supposed to give sense of direction to our children. But I want us to look at this. How can other family members support us? Do we actually need help?
Everybody needs help.
Okay, so how can they come in? We have a few minutes to wind up.
Oh my goodness, okay. So everybody needs help. We can actually allow family members. However, in this era, it becomes difficult because most of us live far. There are family members living in this Accra. For 3 months now, they've not seen each other. Like they will only meet next month because it will be Christmas. You know, that's a problem. However, if you have that element of proximity, sure, at least you are sure that this family member, this sibling of mine, will not inculcate some values I wouldn't want to inculcate into my children. So yes, they can be helped, especially when we're talking about the issue of work and work-life balance. You know, you can actually do some kind of subletting. Go and she was going to her auntie and all that. So yes, family members can help when it becomes necessary.
And you know, even when they are not present, they can still offer emotional support.
Okay.
So grandma will call and find out how everybody is doing. I want to talk to Nana, I want to talk to Mabna, I want to talk to this.
Exactly.
When it happens like that, they have not seen you physically, but they feel that impact. Sometimes she will say,
Exactly.
You know, and then she would ask, what was your position in class? So you know that next time, when grandma calls, she's going to ask me. So if you don't do well, you would have to promise that you do. There are so many ways, and even in the house, your spouse, how do they support you when they know that sometimes, you know, training the children, combining it with work, and it becomes overwhelming? How do they support? And you know, maybe you've gone to school, you've come late, there are stuff to be done. If your spouse is standing in for you, the children will learn. But if he's also, I don't care, or something like that, certainly they will also, so some form of support and appreciating you for what you have done gives them a good signal that they can also learn.
But you know, in some homes, you hear the man saying that, oh, well, mommy, I said, so go. I don't know if you hear that. They will say that sometimes, oh, this your mother should have taught you. Go to your mommy. Does that mean the other party cannot do anything? Because we assume that this role is supposed to be taught by a woman or a man.
We should be collective.
Thank you.
Now,
inclusivity. Thank you.
Inclusivity.
Thank
We should do that collective kind of parenting. Especially, I mean, she mentioned your partner. All right. So I have only girls. I bathe them.
I also have only girls.
Oh, okay. I bathe them.
Girls brigade.
You see, even though I'm a man, I bathe them. And then I show them how to clean down there.
You do?
Why not? I have to. They are my kids. Yes. You know, so I would not wait to say that, okay, it should be your mother who should do this.
What if your mother doesn't know?
What if your mother doesn't do it? So we need to be inclusive. You don't have to say...
And discuss.
And be able to do it. We do it together. Because for me, this is about, in terms of marriage, we are partners. We are working together. We give birth together. We should parent them together.
Okay.
So we don't leave it to the mother.
All right. Your final word, Mrs. Juma, then I come to you, your final word too. But in your case, you have to advise our men and our mothers.
All right.
But you can also advise both.
Well, what I would say is that children have immeasurable worth.
Right.
There's so much in them that when we nurture them well, when we groom them and get closer to them, they can shine out there. And so a lot depends on us as parents. And if we see it as our responsibility and partaking in the job that God himself has given us, then we'll do what is expected of us. So I would encourage everybody. The child might be difficult, but like I said, leaders don't yell. There are so many ways you can talk to your child and bring that child closer to you, and it will be better for him.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so let me bring my own to and I'll add the men, but let me say that as a mother, you are the best person to groom your children. Reason, you are actually the very first person that your child actually comes into contact with. And so the child is able to build the trust, and you stand a better chance of grooming that child better. In the Bible, we see that some of the men had multiple women. And so the grooming of the children was mostly left to the mothers. So you had your children, yes, he's the father, but the mothers were the ones doing it. Somehow it was the aspect of discipline that was left to the males, and it has become some more like a traditional thing that is coming to us. But and this is where I'll include the men. Grooming includes discipline as well.
Okay.
And it is not just the father. It is both the mother and the father. Both of you should groom. Both of you should discipline. We should be inclusive. We should do it together. Once we do that as fathers and mothers, as parents working together, we become so united to the point that our children would see us. And one aspect of the grooming that will last will be how they will also marry. And how they would also impact their children. So if we're able to do that, we will be impacting generations.
Thank you so much. All too soon, our time is up. I wish we were not finishing so that I can still see the energy, the emotions, the passions these two beautiful people are giving to us. Mrs. Juma, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Doc, thank you so much, and God bless you so much. And to you out there, I'm grateful that you joined in this discussion. As I said, on Love at Home, we are preparing our families to meet Christ when He soon return. How well are you preparing your family? So if your child is wayward or your child is not listening to you, hey, it's not too late. Take everything to God in prayer. He knows, because He gave that child to you. And change your ways. Try to make sure that your child can trust you. Go back to the roots and start doing things right. Same time next week, you come into your homes again with another interesting topic. Continue discussing this in your various homes. And thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.